All right, so welcome back. Now on this one, we're going to create the React application that we are using right now from the ground up. Now remember, this is a full course. So in order to learn more things in the future, to do more things in the future, and to solve issues in the future, I need to show you how everything gets constructed. Because if you don't know how it works, right from the the most basic part, how you will know to fix a problem. So for example, if I go right here to the index and, just tell you, okay, so we're going to type this and type that and type that, and you don't know what they do, what's the point of making a course? So at the beginning, I'm just going to do a little bit more explaining, because maybe if you want to watch a dude just typing things and don't explain anything, and I know there are a lot of courses like that, you can go to YouTube, of course, and get this stuff for free. Now, I like to do the explaining so you can know what we are doing. I like to know what I'm doing. So that's why I'm going to explain it. So I'm going to go, and we're going to start right from the start. You're going to go delete the source directory. Now, when you run the development server, by default, it's going to go and attempt to find that source directory. Since we don't have it, we don't get anything. So if I go right here and maybe just kill the terminal, just kill it. I'm going to go right here. Notice that we are running it. I'm going to kill it and run it again and PM start. And if we go to the application, notice that it's just we are starting to get errors. So by default, it needs that source directory, and by default, we need an index. Notice it's just complaining about that. Dude, I'm not finding it in this index.js. So when you create a React application, you need to get a source directory, and the main kickstart of your application is going to be that index.js. If you don't have it, React will has no idea what to do. So if I save this, now we have a source and we have an index. So if I do npm start again, it will find all of this, all these files, but it's going to work, but we get nothing. We just get nothing. Now, if I go to inspect, we get that HTML because we get it right here on the public directory. And we also get that bundle that, we talked about previously, the bundle, but we get nothing because we have no logic at all. All right. So we need to start a React application. Now, just to start a React application, because you're going to work with React code, you need to import React from React the whole time. You just need to import it. How many times are you going to import this? 1,000,000 times. All right. So when we create a React application right here, we know that we need to connect the code that we have with the index.html. So everything can be rendered right here, right? So how can we do it? Because the React project has no idea in how to connect with this index.html. It just has no idea how to do it. So that is why we import the React DOM right here. So it's going to be React DOM from, and then React DOM. That's why we get this package. This one is the one that knows how to read the DOM and how to connect with the index.html. All right. So the golden rule is that when you work with the React application, you work with classes and you create functions. But most importantly, when you create a class or a function in the React lingo or world, you're creating a component, right? So a component could be a class or could be a function. But at the end of the day, they need to be components. All right. So, okay, so we can use a function. So I'm going to go and say const. And the name of my function is going to be app. Now, this function will be a component as well. So by default, I need to use the capital A at the beginning. And this is just something that you need to do. If not, of course, React will complain. This is going to be a component. It needs the capital A. Now, this is going to be just a function. Now, as you know, with JavaScript, a function, you can create a function with curly braces, or you can return something directly from the function with the parentheses. All right. So what we could do, we could go right here and open and close curly braces. Now, if you do it like this, remember this app function, it's going to be a component. So if you're not returning something from a component, a React component, React will complain. So if I start adding some code and don't return anything, it will not work. So at the end of the day, you always need to return some code. So I'm going to go right here and going to say, I'm going to return a div with an h1. So this is going to be my entire application, a div with an h1. But remember, we always return something from a component, a React component. Okay, so now we have a valid component. It's just a function. We have a return, and we are returning some HTML. Cool. Now remember, the React application has no idea how to connect with the indexed HTML. Has no idea. So we use this React DOM. All right. So I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to say, all right, so I'm going to use that React DOM. So this React DOM has a method called render. And this is the one that's going to grab whatever logic we have for an application, and it's going to go and say, all right, I'm going to put this on the index.html. All right. So this render needs to know what is the main component that will start our application. So it's going to be this. So I'm going to go and say, all right, so our component is the app component. Cool. So this is the first argument on this render method. So the second one is going to be, all right, so where I'm going to be putting this component. Right. So notice on the index.html that we get some, of course, template right here, some HTML code and everything else. But we also get a div with an ID of root, and it's a very, very lonely div. So at the end of the day, this render will grab whatever logic we have right here, and it will put it inside of the root. So it's like just doing something like this, just doing this. So of course, this is going to be, it's going to do it for us. So since the first one is the what we're going to be putting, then it's going to be where are we going to put it. So we need to go to document. We're going to go to get element by ID, get element. Let me see if I could get it. Well, I don't get it. Maybe it's this one. Oh, yeah, it is. And I'm going to say, all right, so I need you to go to the DOM because this is the one that knows how to interact with the DOM, and grab that root one. So, okay. So grab the application and put it on the root. So if I save this, this is going to work, but we still get nothing. And notice that now we get an error. So if I go to console, it says functions are not valid as a React child. This might happen if you return a component instead of component. So remember, React works with classes and works with functions, but it needs a component. So right now we are returning something that it's a valid component, but we are saying, dude, I want a component, but this component is the app. So remember, this is just a function. At the end of the day, it's just a function. So the way we can tell React that this is a valid component, this is a component, is by doing this. That's it. I know it sounds like super dumb, but this is the way we tell React that this is a valid component. So I'm going to go and save it. And now if I reload the application, we get hello. So we have a working React application, and this is the component that we are showing. All right, so super simple. So in conclusion, we need a source directory. Of course, we need a public directory with a root right here. And we need a source, and we need the index. The index will start the React application. We need the DOM, so we can connect with that index and with the DOM. And at the end of the day, we just create a function or a class, and we return something, and this is going to be the component. Always remember the capital A. And at the end of the day, we return the first or the main component that will work as a React application. Now, maybe you're thinking, all right, so we are returning some dumb HTML. Yes and no. So when we work with components on a React application, we don't return HTML. We return JSX. And this is the term that we use for React applications. When we write something right here that looks like HTML is JSX. And notice if I hover right here, it says right there JSX. So behind the scenes, of course, this is a JavaScript file. So JavaScript has no idea how to interact with directly with an HTML, right? Just has no idea. So what we do, we write some code that looks like HTML. And behind the scenes, React is going to do a couple things for us, and will convert all of this code into something, of course, something that works behind the scenes. And at the end of the day, this, of course, gets compiled, it's transpiled, and it will just show the HTML version right here. But again, it looks like HTML, but it's not. It's called JSX. All right, so let's go to the next one, and I'm going to expand a little bit more how this works behind the scenes.